Hey, what's up everybody? My name is Jonathan, and as you can see, I already have the Note 20 Ultra unboxed. Unfortunately, this is the second time I've done this video, so I've already unboxed this thing, but we're gonna do it again just to give you guys an idea of what to expect. Of course, this is gonna come down to your region, your carrier, or however you purchase your phone. For this particular model, it is a review unit. And then after this, we're gonna get into the first 10 things that I did to my Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, and I suggest that you do. So without further ado, let's go ahead and open this thing, take a look at what comes inside the box. We have some SIM card information here, basic literature stuff. Also, you have a little cardboard box here, and this is going to have your SIM card removal tool, as well as some basic literature, warranty information, quick start guides, you know, all that stuff. And that's what's in here. So no need to take that out. Go ahead and put that to the side. And then we have our super fast wall charger. And this is a 25-watt charger, so it's really nice to see Samsung putting in a beefier charger versus the 15-watt chargers that were typically put in even their flagship phone boxes. And then we have our USB-C to USB-C charging cable. And then we have a little empty slot here for the headphones. So unfortunately here in the US, based off what I was told, you will not get AKG headphones in the box. So other than that, that's pretty much it. So it's a pretty bare unboxing experience. And then of course we have the Note 20 Ultra right here, and it's gorgeous matte glass or like a satin glass finish. It looks really good. This is the Mystic Bronze colorway, and I gotta say I'm a fan. Now, one thing I'm not so much of a fan of, I really have to get used to it, is they switched up the S Pen placement. So typically the S Pen was on the right-hand side, now it's on the left. Same thing with the volume rocker and the power button. Usually it was on the left-hand side, but now it's on the right. So these little subtle changes might throw you off a bit. They definitely threw me off. It's gonna take a little bit of time to get used to them, but I don't think it's that big of a deal. But the phone itself, absolutely gorgeous. So let me go ahead and get all of this cleaned up, and then we'll dive straight into the second part of this video. So the first thing I recommend is registering the same fingerprint twice. Since the Galaxy Note 20 Ultra is using the same ultrasonic fingerprint scanner as the S20 Ultra, it's gonna help speed up the process of scanning your fingerprint. The ultrasonic fingerprint scanner provides more security versus other in-display fingerprint scanners. The downside to this is that sometimes it takes longer for your fingerprint to register with the scanner. So doubling up on your registered fingerprints is gonna help reduce any issues that possibly could occur. You can also enable face recognition, but please be mindful that it's not as secure as a fingerprint, PIN, password, or even a pattern. In case you missed it during the initial setup process, to register a fingerprint, you're gonna dive into your settings and then go under biometrics and security, and then tap on fingerprints. Go ahead and input your PIN. Go ahead and input mine real quick. From there, you're gonna tap on add fingerprints, and then go ahead and rescan whatever fingerprints that you already have scanned before. So for me, I've already scanned my right thumb and my left thumb. So I'm gonna go ahead and rescan my right thumb and then rescan my left thumb. To make things easier for you moving forward, if you want to label your fingerprints, that way you know exactly which fingers have been registered in your phone, just tap on the fingerprints, and then now you can add a custom name for that fingerprint. If you want to register a face for face recognition, you're gonna go back under your biometrics and security settings, and then tap on face recognition. Go ahead and enter your PIN. So I'll enter mine real quick, and then tap continue. And it's gonna ask you if you wear glasses. Right now I don't have my glasses on, so I'll just leave it as no. And then you're gonna go through the process of registering your face. Really simple stuff. And now it's turned on. But like I said, this is not the most secure form of locking down your phone. Another thing you can do when it comes to facial recognition is add an alternative look. All you have to do is tap on add alternative look and then go through the same exact process, wearing whatever it is you wanna wear or with the person that you wanna add into your phone. Luckily, I have an unlocked model here with hardly any bloatware, but if you happen to grab a Note 20 Ultra from your local carrier, it may have a lot of apps pre-installed that you'll never use. This is how you can disable or uninstall a lot of those apps that are labeled as bloatware. First, let's start with uninstalling an app. Let's say I wanted to remove Microsoft Outlook because Outlook comes pre-installed on Galaxy devices now due to their partnership with Microsoft. So if you want to remove an app, just tap and hold on that icon, and you're gonna see a menu pop up, and you're gonna see the uninstall option right there. Tap on uninstall, go through the uninstall process, and now it's officially removed from your phone. Some apps, however, cannot be uninstalled, but they can be disabled. And when you disable an app, it hides it from your view, so you no longer see an icon for that app, and it also no longer takes up any system resources, thus speeding up the performance of your phone just a tiny bit. Most people probably will not notice a difference, and also improving battery life, again, just a tiny bit. To disable an app, such as Chrome, for example, we're gonna touch and hold on that application and then tap on disable, and then tap on disable again. So this is a great way to keep your app drawer nice, neat, and tidy, as well as make your phone a little bit more efficient. The third thing I recommend doing is setting up your display. I always begin by adjusting the resolution, the refresh rate, the color profile, the size of the text, and size of the icons almost immediately after getting a new phone. Let me show you how to do this. What you're gonna do is go into your settings, and then go under display. So from here, you have an array of settings that you can dial in to make the display work for you. So for me, I turned on dark mode, but you can keep it on light mode if that's something that you want to do. You can also turn off adaptive brightness or auto brightness. You can adjust the brightness. Motion smoothness is going to be your refresh rate. So if you dive into motion smoothness, unlike the Galaxy S20 Ultra, you can't just force 120 Hertz all of the time. You can do adaptive, and that's going to automatically adjust your refresh rate by whatever it is you're doing on your phone. So sometimes it's going to drop to 60 Hertz to conserve some battery. However, for the most part, it's going to keep it at 120 Hertz, but it's going to do all this in the background and you're never gonna notice a thing. You can go to standard and you're gonna get better battery life because it's going to leave it at 60 Hertz. And if you do standard, you can also pick a higher resolution. You can go all the way up to Quad HD+. However, if you want to utilize 120 Hertz, you are limited to Full HD+, but I gotta say, this display is incredible. And even if you leave it in 1080p, I don't think you're gonna notice a difference. So if we back out of resolution and then go under motion smoothness, we have blue light filter. In case you don't know, the blue light filter will actually make your display super warm. And this is how you can cut back on eye strain due to the blue light emitted from the display. Underneath that, we have screen mode. Now by default, it's set to vivid. Vivid is very punchy. It has a lot of saturated colors. However, I prefer natural. Natural is gonna give you more realistic and more accurate colors, which is ideal for editing photos, videos, and things like that. Underneath screen mode, we have font size and style. Typically, I like to reduce my font size, but straight out of the box, everything seems to be pretty perfect in my opinion. So I just decided to keep it how it was straight out of the box. But if we go back, we also have screen zoom. This works similar to adjusting the font size, but instead of just specifically adjusting the font, it adjusts everything on your display. So you can make everything bigger or you can make it smaller. If you have bad vision, I suggest going in and messing with screen zoom and increasing it, making things a little bit easier to read and see. But if you have good vision, just leaving it in its default state is perfectly fine. Backing out of screen zoom, we have screen resolution. We already went over that. And then we have full screen apps. So if you're using some of these older apps in the Google Play Store that don't scale correctly to the display, you can force it to take advantage of this full screen real estate of the Note 20 Ultra. I really haven't encountered any apps that do this, but if you happen to use one, you can go in and then just toggle it on, and then it's going to force it to use the full size of the display. Backing out of full screen apps, screen timeouts, you probably already know what that does. And you can adjust your home screen. There are a couple things that I wanna show you inside of here. The first is your home screen grid. By default, out of the box, it's set to 4x5. And honestly, I think it looks awful. So I changed mine to 5x5. It gives me a little bit more screen real estate to use when it comes to applying widgets and putting apps on my home screen. It gives you 5 rows and 5 columns of icons. You can also do the same thing for your app screen. By default, it's set to 4x5, but changing it to 5x5 allows you to fit more on your display. So definitely adjust those two settings if you haven't already. Backing out of home screen, we have easy mode. I don't suggest using easy mode. If you need to use easy mode, then you might not need to be using a Galaxy Note 20 Ultra. That's just my personal opinion about that. Easy mode is going to make everything very big, very easy to use. However, the whole point of buying a Note 20 Ultra is for its functionality, for its productivity purposes, and all of its advanced features. So I wouldn't use easy mode. Then we have edge screen. I highly suggest that you set up your edge screen. If you swipe over from left to right, you have a new style of edge screen here. if you tap on the pencil icon, you can adjust and add various apps to like this little hidden area. So that way you can access them on the fly. You can also, going back and tapping on the cogwheel here, you can add various pages to your Edge panels. So you can add like a clipboard, you can add a reminder, you have various tools. Pretty much all of this is repetitive of previous Note phones, but like I said, if you're new to the Note world, you may not know about all this stuff. One thing I do recommend is that if you're not going to use the Edge screen at all, just disable it. You're gonna save some system resources, thus speeding up the performance and also reducing battery drain of your phone. It's gonna be very slight. You probably won't notice a difference, but all of these small improvements add up to one big improvement. So if you're not gonna use it, just turn it off. Backing out of Edge screen, we have navigation bar. Now for your navigation bar, by default, you have buttons. So this is gonna be your navigation buttons down here. If you're used to Android, you probably already know what these do, but if you're new to Android, this is your back button, this is your background app button. So if I tap on the background app button, this is gonna be all of the apps that I've previously opened, and then I can multitask from here as well. However, if you want to use the new swipe gesture navigation, which is new to Android 10, you can tap on swipe gestures, and from here, tap on more options, and then do swipe from sides and bottom. Swipe from bottom is like a different take on these Android navigation gestures. If you swipe up from the right-hand side, it's going to be your back button. Swiping up from the left-hand side is going to be your multitask or background app switcher. So just use swipe from sides and bottom because it's very similar to stock Android swipe gesture navigation. Once you set all that up, we have accidental touch protection. I highly suggest just leaving that on. It's going to prevent any accidental presses along the Edge screen. There are a few tweaks that you can do to further enhance this, which we'll cover in the tips and tricks videos to come. We have touch sensitivity. If you're going to be using a screen protector on your Galaxy Note 20 Ultra, which I do recommend, and I have an accessory video already in the works, make sure you turn on increased touch sensitivity. It's gonna help registering your fingerprints and of course, reading your fingerprint. And then we have show charging information. It was already on by default. I didn't even mess with it, so just leave it alone. But other than that, that's how you can customize your display to make it work for you. Number 4 is all about customization and really dialing in this phone to make it work for you as well as represent your personality. So the first thing I recommend is installing a theme, switching up your wallpaper, downloading a new icon pack, all of that stuff. To do that, you're going to long press on your home screen, tap on themes, and it's gonna pull up the Galaxy theme store. There are a ton to choose from. Some you have to pay for, some are free. There's plenty of great free ones, so be on the lookout for those. However, if you don't want to install a full theme, you can tap on wallpapers and then browse their selection of wallpapers. There's a ton to choose from, but again, you have to pay for a lot of these. A lot of people might find that downloading a third-party app from the Google Play Store and installing wallpapers that way might be a little bit better, but I find that Samsung offers a lot of high quality and really good wallpapers, so I tend to get a few from here. And then you have icons. You can switch up your icon pack without having to install a third-party launcher. There's plenty to choose from. Again, some you have to pay for, some are free. And I have a quick tip on how you can pay for these themes, icons, and wallpapers, which we'll talk about in just a bit. You also have always on displays, so you can switch that up as well. Actually, I need to do that. I'll probably do that later, but you can install a new always on display that will be visible whenever your phone is locked and sitting on a table. So I'm gonna go ahead and go into my stuff and I will show you what I currently have downloaded. So I have the green neon wallpaper, which is this background right here. And then if I go to my lock screen, you can see I have an animated dragon video wallpaper, which looks absolutely brilliant. I'll link both of those in the description in case you feel like checking these out and downloading them for yourself. I did have to buy both of these though, so just bear that in mind. Let's go ahead and go back into the theme store here. And I will show you the icon pack that I'm using. Go to my stuff, icons. So I'm using the pixelized icons. This is a free icon pack. You can see it looks just like the Pixel, and it also themes out third-party apps such as LastPass, Instagram. You can see it just puts a circle around it and it makes it look like, a little bit more consistent with the rest of the theme. If you think you're gonna be inside of the theme store a lot, let me show you a few more ways that you can access the theme store without having to long press on the home screen. So you can go into your settings and then go under themes. And this is also going to pull up the theme store. However, if you go into this menu here, tap on the cogwheel, and then scroll down until you see Add Galaxy Themes icon, and then tap Add, it's going to add a Galaxy Themes app right here. So that way you can just quickly launch it just like that. It's gonna be a little bit quicker than having to long press on the home screen and doing all of that. Another way you can customize your device is to customize your side key function right here. So by default, if you long press it, it's going to activate Bixby. However, many people may not be familiar with Bixby or even want to use Bixby. To change that, just pull down the notification shade, tap on the little power button up here at the top, and then tap side key settings. And then from here, you can switch up the functionality of the side key. So you could, change up the double press function. By default, quick launch camera is enabled. This is how I want mine. This is how I'll keep it. But if you don't want to have the camera launch by a double press, you can also assign your own custom app, or you can have it trigger Bixby. And then for the press and hold function, you can see Wake Bixby is on by default, but if you tap on power off menu, now it's gonna be like more of a traditional power button, where if you long press it, you're gonna have the ability to shut down your phone, restart your phone, and then trigger emergency mode. And that's how I like my phone set up. But let me know in the comment section how you like your phone setup. Another way you can customize your phone is by going back into the settings and then scrolling down until you see advanced features, and then going down to motions and gestures. These are gonna be a lot of things that you may or may not use. I highly suggest going through these motions and gestures and disabling the ones that you don't plan on using, because like everything else I've said up until this point, it's going to save you some system resources and possibly battery life. So lift to wake is going to be when you lift your phone, the display is automatically going to turn on. Double tap to wake, the same kind of concept, except instead of lifting it, you're going to just double tap on your screen. Smart Stay will use the front-facing camera and sensors up here to detect if you're looking at your display. And if you are looking at your display, it won't turn it off or your display won't go to sleep. Smart Alert, as you pick up your phone, it's going to vibrate to let you know what notifications you have. Easy Mute is really cool because if it's sitting on a table face up, someone calls you, you don't feel like talking to that person, you can flip your phone over and it's going to silence your call or notification. Palm Swipe Capture, I never use. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off, but to give you a quick demonstration, it allows you to take a screenshot by just taking your palm and then swiping it across the display like so. Like I said, I never use that, but I know a lot of people that do. So I'm gonna go ahead and toggle mine off. And then swipe to call or send messages. This gives you the ability to go through your contacts. And if you find a contact that you want to message or call, you can just swipe that contact instead of having to tap on that contact and going through multiple steps. So it's just gonna speed up the process a little bit. Staying on the trend of making your phone a little bit more efficient, I highly suggest that you set up or disable Samsung Daily. If you don't know what I'm talking about, let me show you what Samsung Daily is. So I've already turned mine off. I'm gonna go ahead and turn it on. Samsung Daily is when you swipe from left to right, you're gonna see this page. And it's gonna give you a lot of information and news. Basically, whatever you sign up for, it's gonna give you individual cards for those things. So you can see these are some of the cards that it's offering me right now. Yahoo Videos, Netflix, Instant Games, Flipboard, so on and so forth. But there's a lot more that you can add to Samsung Daily. But just keep in mind that this is using system resources as well as pulling down data in the background. And for me, I don't really want that. I would prefer to have Google Now, but if I can't have Google Now, I don't want anything. So I'm gonna go ahead and turn it off. To turn it off, long press on your home screen, swipe over, and just toggle off Samsung Daily, and that's it. So now you just have a clean home screen setup. Another thing you can do is customize your keyboard. If you've been on Android, you already know about all of this. However, there's one new feature to the Samsung keyboard that you may not be aware of. So we're gonna go ahead and pull up the keyboard here and then tap on the cogwheel here to go into the settings. And you have an option for third-party content. So now with the new Samsung keyboard, you have the ability to add in third-party content or third-party apps such as Bitmoji, Giphy and Tenor, Spotify and Google. I already have Spotify and Google hooked up. So if I go back to my keyboard here, pull it up and then tap on the three little dots, you can see you have options down here to have these different apps kind of like display or send information to the person that you're talking to. So for example, if you're using Giphy and you send a lot of GIFs, you can actually access those GIFs directly from the Samsung keyboard now versus having to download third-party apps to do this. I think it's a really cool option. So other than that, if you go back into the settings, a lot of this stuff is redundant and repetitive of previous Galaxy devices, but if you're new to the Galaxy world or new to Android, definitely dive in here and adjust the settings to make it work better for you. For me, I always like to adjust some of these smart typing or predictive text features. I also like to adjust the style and layout of my keyboard. For instance, I like to adjust the size, make it a little bit bigger, and then at the same time, go in and go into keyboard layouts and disable the number keys. I'm weird, I know. I like my number keys behind my letters. It's just for me, I like to adjust some of these smart typing or predictive text features. I also like to go into style and layout, go under keyboard size. So we'll go into keyboard font size first, and I'm gonna decrease the keyboard font size, make it a little less gaudy and in your face. And then go under keyboard layout. I like to disable the number keys. I'm weird, I know. I like my numbers behind my letters. It's just a little bit more organized, I would say, and less intrusive. And plus, I like my keyboard more compact. So now that that's done, I'm gonna go into modes and take a look here. So we have standard keyboard, which is gonna be your basic keyboard. We have the one-handed keyboard, which a lot of people are not aware of, but you can access this in a much faster and more simple way. And then you have floating keyboard. And then for landscape view, you have the split keyboard option, you have standard keyboard and floating keyboard. Split keyboard is probably best considering this display is pretty big. So we're gonna go back out of modes, and then you have custom symbols, you have size and transparency. So if you wanted to increase the size of the keyboard, you could. If you want to decrease the transparency, you can do that as well. With all that being said, if you don't want to use the Samsung keyboard, you don't have to. You can download a third-party one. However, if we back out of style and layout and then back out of the Samsung keyboard, Microsoft SwiftKey keyboard now comes pre-installed on Galaxy devices, and it is a phenomenal keyboard. So if you don't want to use Samsung keyboard, you don't feel like downloading another one, you can use SwiftKey, and it's going to be extremely accurate when it comes to grammar and spelling correction. And the last thing I want to quickly show you when it comes to customization is adding your battery percentage to your status bar right here. Now, if you pull down your notification shade, it pops up. However, once you swipe it back up, it disappears. I like it there all of the time because I want to be able to see what my battery percentage is at any given time. To change that, pull down and go into your quick toggles, tap on the three little dots, and then tap on status bar, and then enable show battery percentage. Now, it will always be displayed. 5 is one of, if not the best reason to use a Samsung device, and that's Samsung Pay. So make sure to set it up if you have not already. The great thing about Samsung Pay is that it utilizes MST and NFC technology. NFC is what most of us think about when we think of mobile payments. MST allows you to use Samsung Pay with older credit card swipe machines that don't accept wireless payments. To get to Samsung Pay, just swipe up from the bottom, and there you go. Now, the thing about Samsung Pay is it might be limited based upon your region, but here in the US, you shouldn't have any issues. So go ahead and go through the setup process, input your PIN, input your payment information, and get Samsung Pay set up. One of the best things about Samsung Pay is as you use it, you accrue points, and these points can be used for gift certificates. You can apply these points for different giveaway raffles. You can buy things from the Samsung store, or you can use them for your wallpapers, your themes, your icon packs, your always on displays, all of that. Next up is to try out and set up the new Notes app. It's been updated and now has one of Samsung's newest features, Cloud Sync. Well, it's coming in the future. I typically use third-party apps for all of my note-taking needs in order to be able to access them on any device at any given time. However, with this latest updates, at least I'm hoping, I won't need to use third-party apps anymore because the Notes app on the Samsung Galaxy Note 20 Ultra and Note 20 will sync with OneNote in the future, which is like the ultimate flexibility considering OneNote is available on all platforms. There's actually quite a few new features and standout features inside the new Notes app that I'm excited to show you guys. So I'm gonna do a dedicated video on that. I've never covered the Notes app in extensive detail, so I'm excited to try it out. 7 is another new feature, and that's wireless decks. If you have a TV that supports Miracast, you definitely need to check this out once you get your Note 20 Ultra. It's going to allow you to wirelessly cast decks to your TV, so that way you can share a presentation, a slideshow, pictures, videos, and a lot more. You can even use the Note 20 Ultra as a trackpad when doing this. I'll be looking at this more later in my dedicated DeX video. I did one for the Note 10, you guys loved it, so I'm definitely gonna do one for the Note 20. I know I have a ton of videos to make, but I plan on growing like 2 more arms. We're gonna get it done. Moving on to the S Pen, I highly suggest setting up your Air command menu and customizing it to fit your needs. In order to access your Air command menu, just pull out your S Pen. Simple as that. And then there's your Air command menu. If you go all the way down, you have a little option to add shortcuts with a plus symbol. Just tap on that. And now you can add third-party apps such as different doodling or drawing apps that you've downloaded to your Air command menu. That way you can access them on the fly. You can also remove some of these that you may not use, or you can go back and touch and hold down on one of the features and you can move them around so that way you can organize them and kind of catalog them based on your needs and which ones you're gonna access the most. If you tap on the little cogwheel over here, it's gonna pull up a lot of S Pen settings. I'm gonna do like an S Pen tips and tricks video and really dive into all of the advanced functions of the S Pen. But for now, if you feel like going through the S Pen menu and the S Pen settings, that's how you do it. Oh yeah, and speaking of the S Pen, you really need to give it a try immediately. As soon as you get your Note 20 or Note 20 Ultra, just try it out. Samsung improved the latency, making the experience night and day better versus before. Combine the decreased latency with the 120Hz display, and you get an extremely smooth writing experience. The ninth thing that you need to do as soon as you get your Note 20 Ultra is try out the new cameras and really get familiar with some of the settings. I'll be doing a dedicated video specifically walking you through the Note 20 Ultra camera settings, camera features, and even the hardware, so make sure to stay tuned. For now, here's a few things that you can try out immediately. First things first, let's go ahead and pull up the camera app. And when you're in the default photo mode, if you want to change the resolution of your photo from 12 megapixels to 108 megapixels, you just tap on the 3x4 right there, and then you can go to 108. Now the 108 megapixel mode is going to give you more detail, and it's going to be great for like, landscape shots or architecture. However, if you want to get better low light capabilities, you're going to want to leave it on the regular 3x4. It's still going to utilize the 108 megapixel sensor or the full sensor. It's going to compress 108 megapixels to 12 megapixels, and it's going to suppress a lot of that noise. If you want to do the same thing for video, just dive into video, tap on 9:16 up here. Now by default, it's set to full HD, which I'm gonna show you how to change. But if you wanna access 8K on the fly, just tap on 9:16 and then 9:16 8K. So now you're gonna be able to shoot 8K video. If you go into settings by tapping on the cogwheel, tapping on rear video size, and then tapping on 16:9, you can adjust the resolution up to 4K 60 frames per second. And you can go all the way down to 720p at 30 frames per second. Now this might seem like a lot, but really you haven't seen anything yet. If you go down to where it says Pro Video Size, this means the Pro mode for video. So if I go into the More tab here and then tap on Pro Video, this is what it is talking about. So if I tap on the cogwheel, go back into the settings, and then tap on Pro Video Size, and then tap on where it says Resolution, I have a lot more options. I have 1080p up to 120 frames per second. I have 4K up to 60 frames per second. I have 8K at 24 frames per second, but I can also do 21:9, 8K at 24 frames per second. If you're unfamiliar with 21:9, it's like a cinematic aspect ratio. And to me, that is absolutely incredible that you can shoot all of that on this Note 20 Ultra. Unfortunately, if you shoot a lot of video, especially 8K, or you take a lot of 108 megapixel stills, it's gonna take up a lot of space on your phone. To conserve a little bit of that space when it comes to video at least, dive into your settings, go under where it says advanced recording options, and then toggle on high efficiency video. By default, it's already enabled if you plan on shooting 8K, but if you're shooting 4K, you might have to go in and manually enable it. So turn that on. It does not work in conjunction with HDR10+. So if you want to shoot HDR10+ video, high efficiency video will not work. So you can see it will not allow me to toggle it on. But if I go back and change my video size to 4K and then go back in, you can see now I can toggle on HDR10+ video. But now I can't use high efficiency video. So you got to pick which one you want to use. And for the most part, I think most people are just probably gonna choose high efficiency video because of just how much space it's going to save on your phone by using an H.265 codec, which gives you better compression with a smaller file size versus the typical H.264 codecs that most phones record in. The last thing I wanna quickly show you when it comes to the camera is inside Pro Video mode. So let's go ahead and dive back into Pro Video, and it's right here. So if you tap on where it says Omni, this gives you the ability to adjust the microphone input. So if you want to record audio only from the front, you can select front. If you want to only record audio from the rear, you can select rear, and you can adjust the levels of the audio. This is gonna be great for content creators that use their phones a lot to record little vlogs or short video clips. If you're big into Instagram stories or even TikTok, now you're gonna be able to get really clean audio using third-party microphones or even the Galaxy Buds Live. Finally, number 10 is for all my gamers out there. You might have heard me talk about Project xCloud, or maybe you've seen me stream games on my Galaxy devices in the past. Well, Xbox Game Pass is officially launching in September for Galaxy devices. So this is something I highly suggest that you prep for. Get yourself set up if you haven't already, and once it launches, take advantage of this service. It's going to be absolutely incredible when it comes to changing the way we game on our mobile phones. I've been using Project xCloud and I love it. Well, that about does it for the first of many Note 20 Ultra videos. Trust me. Let me know your thoughts on the Note 20 and Note 20 Ultra down below. The Note series has always been one of my personal favorites, and I'm stoked to bring you a lot more coverage of this phone. Plus, it's just really nice to look at. If you enjoyed this video, consider giving it a like, subscribe for more videos like this, and I'll talk to you exquisite people in the next one.